Hi everyone, my name is Violet Sabrina C. Santa Cruz. Coach that I will pick is Coach Bamboo.
Finding that magic, right? That magic moment.
Pipili na ako!
Go ahead, coach.
Moving forward.
Okay, wait. Let's backtrack for a second. So, a little over a few months ago, began my journey in The Voice. It was, to put it simply, an emotional roller coaster. Not just for me, but for all of the contestants, no matter how far they got into the competition. So, we met new people, we made new friends, and we're super stressed because it was still a competition at the end of the day. But, let's start from the beginning. Not the literal beginning. So, for as long as I can remember, I've been watching a lot of talent shows. This goes from international ones like The Got Talent to The Voice from other countries, and eventually to our own as well. And I've always wanted to go on national television, to sing on a stage, to share my talent with the world, and be really successful and rich with a lot of money and okay, wait, I'm joking. Money's just an added benefit, obviously. But of course, everyone starts small. So from then on, I started to join quite a few of the local competitions that were nearby. I lost a few times, but of course, also won a couple, like a boss. And that's when somewhere in November last year, one of the people that I had met in one of these competitions invited my mom to join this Facebook group where they would post all about the upcoming competitions, and this is usually how we find contests to join back then. And my mom had then found a post which briefly stated that they were looking for singers within my age range. And so my mom contacted that person to ask what contest it was. And to our surprise, of course, it was The Voice. So we were then given the requirements for the level 1 stage of the auditions, which had me immediately sending a couple of videos of me singing all these different songs. And you can find said videos on my YouTube channel. And with that, a few days after, a talent coordinator called to say that I had passed the first level. So after answering an interview form that they had passed to us, I was then qualified to go to the final level of screening, which was the face-to-face, or what they would call the ground auditions, where they would send us a schedule for when to go to the studio, and we would sing with a row of people to judge you. And after that, all you'd have to do was wait for a callback to hear whether you're going to the blind auditions or not. So, while waiting for us to be given a schedule, I took advantage of the free time and practiced day and night 24/7, but of course also having a good amount of rest in as well, but also having to drink ginger water for the whole time, which I never got used to, by the way. I still dislike it. It was good for dessert, okay? I had to tolerate it. So despite having to drink that, practice was going great so far. I already had my song choices prepared, and everything was going smoothly. Nothing could possibly go wrong. And then the worst thing that could have possibly went wrong happened. It was during one morning when I woke up to my voice just being completely gone. Well, okay, that's over-exaggerated. I didn't completely lose my voice, but still, it was hoarse and made it difficult for me to practice properly. So one of the things that made me pissed off about that was it wasn't because of me overworking my voice or anything, but my voice didn't feel all that tired from practice at all. It was just a sickness that I had conveniently gotten at such a great time. And with the ground auditions coming up soon, it only made things more stressful for me. But do not fret, because even with my voice all messed up, I was not going to let that stop me from going to the auditions anyway. Now, some of you at the time may be thinking, what are you thinking going there with your voice like that? You couldn't have possibly made it in, but I did, obviously. Having made this video talking about my journey and all, but that's not the point. I still remember the unnerving day that I went through, having to go in with my mom to the day of the ground auditions. It was pretty nerve-wracking, to say the least, knowing you were going there and that you couldn't possibly do your best at the time. And that was kind of heartbreaking. You'd worked so hard to get to that point that not many others have gone to, and so you completely blow it and miss the opportunity just because of this one convenient obstacle that was conveniently placed in your way. So yeah, needless to say, it was a very painfully high stakes and go big or go home situation. But even with the amount of risk at play, I still went in and gave what I got. I can still remember the tension-filled drive to the studio as I still kept on trying to practice to the best of my abilities, even as barely anything came out. And even when we arrived, I still kept on humming, desperately trying to get any voice I had left warmed up. And as if it couldn't have gone any worse, I had the extreme luck of being the second one in line to go up on stage. So yeah, my day was not going great so far. So as I counted down every passing second, it was finally my turn to be called. called, and I nervously walked up to the stage and sang to the best of my ability. Well, if you could even call it singing, it sounded more like a dying eagle. But afterwards, we immediately got home and I anxiously waited for a callback. And call they did. Well, they did, but I hadn't actually known it at the time. They had secretly rang up my parents' phone and said that they were featuring us in a magazine because of our unique names. So, if you didn't already know, I have 4 other sisters with the initials and all our names following the same format, VS, with our first name starting with D and our second name starting with F. You get the point. Now, I don't know where a magazine show that was unrelated to The Voice could have possibly gotten that information, but I'm guessing it was from that questionnaire I'd previously answered. So they went on saying they would just watch us bond with each other and they'll be on their way. Naturally, my parents were suspicious, so they started to fill in the blank. No callbacks yet, but a call from a magazine show all of a sudden to shoot something at your home. The people who called though said not to say anything to me for some reason, wanting it to be a surprise. So it was pretty easy to connect the dots, but even so, they still couldn't believe it. My parents did follow their orders to not tell me though, so it was quite a shock to see 3 white vans suddenly in front of your house like hitmen sent to kidnap you.
But anyways, it was an amazing journey. I had the opportunity to feel what it truly meant to be in this industry. To wake up in the bright hours of morning, having not eaten anything yet, taking advantage of the drive there to practice in the car, and as we arrived, politely greeting the guards with literal eye boogers in our eyes. Okay, wait, that's kind of exaggerated. We obviously took a bath before getting there. We're not nasty. And made our way to the ABS-CBN building, which had a conveniently placed McDonald's building right across the street. And despite several protests for both my parents to stop me from drinking their coffee, of course, I still had my way in the end. And for the whole day, we'd have interviews and tapings, which ended up with us getting home late at night. And despite those tiring days, we had a fun time. The staff there were really nice. The whole building was really cool, both figuratively and literally. And by literally, I mean that I had to wear several layers of clothing before getting in to not get a cold. And I thought, once I get big, I'll be working in these conditions more. I'd have to get used to it, for sure. But now, back in the present, I'm very excited to announce the release of my first album. The pre-save link is down in the description below, so go and check it out. As you've probably seen on my page, I've teased a few songs and I'm happy to see that you guys enjoyed it, and there are even more on the way. So if you're up for that, which you should because the songs are epic, then stay tuned for some more updates in the future. So all in all, The Voice was just the beginning of my journey, and I'm so glad to have you guys with me on the ride.